Is it going to be August or September when it comes to the fourth stimulus check? That's what we're going to discuss in further detail in this video, so let's get right into it. Welcome everybody, thank you so much for joining me. If you're new or if you haven't done so already, please make sure to hit the subscribe button right down below the video. Join the community with the other hundreds of thousands of people who are already here, and because it's absolutely free to do so. So thank you so much, I truly appreciate it, and let's talk through this. So if you happen to catch my video from yesterday morning, that actually happened to be a follow-up video to the video that I released the previous morning. And this video is actually a follow-up to yesterday's video based on all the comments that I continue to get asking for even more specific information, which we're going to discuss in this video. So let's talk through this. So first off, I just need to preface the video by always saying, as of right now, there is not a fourth stimulus check added into the package. However, don't worry about it because here's what I'm expecting. I do expect them to add a fourth stimulus check into the American Families Plan once they officially open up negotiations on that plan. As of right now, they're not even talking about the American Families Plan because they're talking about the first one, the American Jobs Plan. But here's the thing. Why am I so confident that they're actually going to add a fourth stimulus check into the package? Here's why. There is over $4 trillion of spending between those two packages, okay? $4.1 trillion. Here's the thing. We have the 53 members in the House of Representatives calling on a fourth stimulus check and recurring payments. We have the 21 senators calling on a fourth stimulus check and recurring payments. We have the 7 members from the House Ways and Means calling on more stimulus checks. We have the report from the Economic Securities Project also calling on a fourth and even fifth stimulus check to lift millions upon millions of Americans out of poverty this year. So here's the thing. If they push these packages through, $4.1 trillion of spending, and there's not a fourth stimulus check in there, it's going to look really, really bad. Seriously. They pass all that spending without a fourth stimulus? I mean, imagine what that would do for some reputation. So that's why I'm thinking, yeah, I mean, they almost have to add it in there, if you know what I mean. So anyway, I have to preface the video by saying that simply because I don't want any misleading information and I don't want to be accused of saying definitely there's a fourth stimulus coming, because we don't know that for sure, but I'm just basing on all the evidence that we have that it's looking very likely that there will be a fourth stimulus check. All right, with that being said, let's talk through this. So in yesterday's video, I laid out those couple windows, basically saying the packages could be passed in one of two windows, right? The first window being July 9th through August 9th. It's about a 4-week period where they are back before they leave on their 4-week summer recess starting in early August and extending through early September. So that's the first window. The second window being basically starting the second week of September and extending through the end of September. That's the second window. Now, within these windows, I said this is probably when we could see these packages actually passed and turned into law, like passed through the House, passed through the Senate, and signed into law by the president. Then, if that actually happens, and if there is a fourth stimulus check that's actually contained, we talked about when there could be actually distribution times of the fourth stimulus check. If the first window, if the packages are passed in the first window, basically let's just call it the first week of August, we could potentially see a fourth stimulus check distributed basically anytime between August 14th through the end of August, right? That'd be like the first wave or so that would go out. And secondly, if it's passed sometime in the first or the second week of September, right after they return from their summer recess, we could potentially see a distribution of basically any time between like September 18th through the end of the month. But here's the thing. Many of you down in the comment section on my previous video were saying, hey, can you kind of lay it out? Which one do you honestly think would be the window in which they would actually get these passed and potentially see a fourth stimulus check actually come through? Here's the thing. Of course, like I said, I don't really know when it would actually happen, but let's look at this logically and figure out what would be the most logical approach for them to actually pass it through the House, pass it through the Senate, and get it signed by the president. So here's the thing. Let's talk about window number 1. If they actually get these done, which, by the way, Chuck Schumer, who is the leader in the Senate on the Democratic side, he has also made it very clear that they're going to get these things passed, and the goal is to get these packages passed and through in July. He said that multiple times, and he wants to make that his initiative to get these things done. Also, yeah, all right, yes. So here's the thing. If they get these things passed in this July through early August window, Then we see, possibly distribution there in like the second half of August. This would honestly be the most logical approach for them to get it done. And here's why. Because when they return from their August recess or their summer recess in early September, they basically have 3 weeks from the time that they return in early September until the end of the fiscal year, which ends September 30th. And then they need to negotiate out the next year or the next federal budget. And here's the thing. This is always a hang-up every year they get down to the wire. They're down to the very last minute negotiating out the federal budget. Like last year, they had to continue extending the deadline beyond the September 30th expiration simply because if they don't extend it out, then we potentially look at a shutdown situation. So remember that last year they extended like 2 or 3 times, asking for more time for the negotiations on the federal budget for the following year. So when they return from their summer recess in early September, they're going to have their plate full of all these other things. It would not be the best use of their time to continue negotiations on these 2 packages, the American Jobs Plan and the American Families Plan. It would make the most sense for them to get it done sometime between this July 9th and August 9th, kind of this 4-week window when they are back before they leave once again. So again, I have no clue what they're actually going to do. And here's the thing. They kind of need to get on it and start working on this thing because they wanted to get this negotiations done and passed and kind of over with by Memorial Day. We're pushing a month now. That was almost a month ago. I mean, it's not quite a month ago, but we're getting pretty close by the time that we get this whole thing wrapped up. So essentially, these negotiations on this first part of the package have actually extended about a month beyond the official deadline that they originally had, right? So the thing is, they're kind of running out of time. They need to either figure something out, like either come together and work a bipartisan deal or just kind of go at it by themselves. Whatever they need to do, either way, they need to get moving on this thing if they actually want to get it passed and through sometime in this July/early August window before they leave. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. It would make the most logical sense for them to do it sometime during this first window that I outlined, which would then, if there is a 4th stimulus check added into the package, the cool thing about that would be, let's just say they pass the packages in the House, the Senate, and they send it over to the president for a signature. It's signed into law. Okay, cool. And let's just say, for example, it does contain a 4th stimulus check. They can go into their summer recess proud, right? They can go home to their home states, their own jurisdictions, and be like, hey, we're proud. We're sending all of you more money, right? I mean, think of how that would go when they go back to their home states and their home cities, things like this. They would look like heroes, right? Seriously, they would look like really good people. They would look like heroes to everybody, that everybody's going to be getting another check in their account or their mailbox at some point coming over the next few weeks. It would look really, really good to them. However, let's just say they go into the summer recess and they've got nothing done. No checks, no agreement, nothing passed, or even worse, they did pass the packages and no checks were distributed or no checks were included. How would that look for them? What would their reputation look like going home? Probably wouldn't look the best, right? Hey guys, we just passed $4 trillion of spending and no checks, no relief. That probably wouldn't go over very well. Get what I'm saying? So, if there is actually a 4th stimulus check added, I would not be surprised one bit, and I actually kind of expect them to lower the eligibility range, which is totally cool with us. I'm actually suggesting that in the letters that I've sent over to them. I've been saying, hey, issue a 4th stimulus check, but here's the thing. Lower the eligibility down to people earning $40,000, because those are the people who actually need the money. It's not the people with higher incomes. They don't need the money. Honestly, let's just be real. They don't need the money. They want the money, but they don't need it, right? It's the lower income people under $40,000 of income who actually need the money. There's a very big difference between needing and wanting. I want more money. I want all the money I can possibly get, right? But I don't need it necessarily, right? That's just what I'm saying. So like just as an example. So yes, there's a very big difference between needing and wanting, right? So that's kind of what we're expecting anyway. So I wanted to lay this out in this video because many of you have been reaching out to me in, my last video saying, what is your honest opinion? When do you think this would actually happen? Well, I don't honestly really know when it's going to happen, but I would say from a logical standpoint, it would make the most sense to get it done during this next window. This July/early August window would make the most sense. So then they can go off into their vacation and be like, hey, IRS, take care of this. Send out the checks to the necessary people. Their job is done. They wrote the bill. They wrote the legislation. They signed it. Got it signed by the president. It's law. And then the IRS takes care of the rest as far as the distributions, right? Their job would be done at that point. When they return in September, hey, check it out. There's nothing left on their plate except for negotiating out the next fiscal year budget, right? That's the only thing that they have to worry about. I mean, of course, they'd have other things that they'd have to talk about and negotiate out, things like that. But for the most part, the majority of what their work would be encompassing would be pretty much done, right? So to me, I'd feel like, hey, let's get the school project done before we leave on summer break so we don't have to worry about it when we come back. I don't know. That's my opinion anyway. So for those of you that I'm asking, I hope that answers your question. Make sure to hit that subscribe button right down below the video if you haven't done so already, and go back and check out my video from yesterday, which I will link down below in the comment section, and I'll put it down there in the description as well. So also share the videos with your friends, family, and social media. Thanks again, everybody. You're awesome, and I hope this answers your question, but I will see you again in the next video. I'll see you later.